This just revealed a lot about the Vancouver Canucks as we get a huge update on their top candidate to be selected at number 15 if the Vancouver Canucks do not move on from this pick, as we get even more reports surrounding the Vancouver Canucks management and the fact that pick number 15 may be going out in a bigger deal. We're going to break down all this later on this episode, and you're not going to want to miss that. But let's just hop straight into the first topic today, where we do get a lot of reports coming out from the Vancouver Canucks at draft. Now, before we get into the rumors around the Vancouver Canucks management and what they're doing at pick number 15, we do get a update from Mark, and he says Braeden Cootes dined with the Vancouver Canucks this week in Buffalo. Now, a lot of people are looking at the Vancouver Canucks and pick number 15 as there is a big possibility they go out and move this in a trade to acquire a center. But with the Vancouver Canucks dining with Braeden Cootes, there is a huge sign that this is their top priority and their pick if he does make it to pick 15. Now, looking at Cootes, there's a lot to take in. From Daniel G, go check him out. He does awesome stuff on prospects. He says Cootes is one of the hardest working centers in the draft. High-end defensive dimensions, a ridiculous presence pressure on the forecheck, and dynamic in moments. Possess physical skills that should help with translation on a bit of an island with low scoring Seattle team. Now, looking further into Cootes, we do know 26 goals, 37 assists for 63 points this past year with the Seattle Thunderbirds. Still 18 years old, 5'11", 183 pounds. This would be a perfect pick for the Canucks if they do get the chance to draft him at number 15. A reliable defensive center that can still score you 20 goals. And I mean, going into even more, we see from the Hockey Prospect Radio on Sirius XM, they say Braeden Cootes, a 2025 NHL draft prospect, excels at his two-way center with relentless hustle and defensive awareness. His leadership and consistent effort makes him a top 20 pick, projecting as an elite third-line center with 15 to 20 goals yearly. Now, the biggest thing with this is we know there is a possibility that these draft picks end up being a fourth line, a third line, a second line center, but the Vancouver Canucks desperately need to add at this position, and this could start with the draft. And I mean, one more thing on him looking from Grav, he says Cootes is going to make a team real happy at the NHL draft this summer, projected in the 20 to 25 range. He's entered my personal top 15. Here are some of the best moments on April 1st versus Everett in the WHL playoffs, and go check out everything Grav does as well. He covers a lot to do on prospects, but there's a big growing aroma around Cootes and how teams are really starting to look at him. I mean, we've seen the Vancouver Canucks take him out on a dinner date, basically, just to get to meet him. And the big thing is, it wasn't the Canucks brass, it was actually their assistant general manager, which we will get into shortly. But all signs are pointing towards the Canucks going after Cootes at pick 15 if they do keep it. A 26 goal scorer, as I said, relentless defensive responsibility. This is exactly what you want out of a young kid, even before he develops into a full-time NHL player. I think this would be a home run ad. And what's your guys' thoughts on Cootes? Would you be happy if the Canucks got him at pick 15? Would you rather someone else? If there's someone we haven't touched on, or maybe we touched on a while ago, go ahead and leave a comment on if you want us to cover another prospect maybe the Canucks could go after. But with that, let's hop straight into the second topic there, where Cam Robinson did a full report on the draft going into this. In the first week of the draft, we see a lot of teams join in and start scouting these top-end talents, the first-round picks. And this is where a report came from Cam Robinson, and he said Patrik Allvin and Jim Rutherford were noticeably absent from the combine this week, with Cami Granato was in attendance. So without the Canucks brass, we know there's a lot of reports. We've seen the pictures of them looking at community centers for the Vancouver Canucks next practice facility, but with the Canucks not having their top general manager or president of hockey ops there, all signs are looking like maybe the Canucks go out to move on from this first. Now, we know last year the Canucks didn't select until the third round. They picked Melvin Fernstrom as their first pick. They added some decent prospects, but right now the Canucks are set to have picks through 1 through 7. Now, some of these are not their own. The San Jose Sharks have we have the San Jose Sharks pick at number 3. We do also have a fourth-round pick that is not the Canucks' own. So with this as well, if they move on from it, they will not be selecting until the second round, which would make it feel like 5 years in a row when they did not select in the first. The biggest thing with the Canucks is the lack of involvement in the interview process with the 2025 draft indicates the team is quite likely planning on moving their 15th overall selection. Now we know the Vancouver Canucks, the media, everyone has made it very clear the Canucks want to add at the center position, and it's going to be expensive. The 15th overall would just be the start. I mean, going into what Jim Rutherford said, on a second line center, he said it'd be expensive, but it'd also be very expensive not to get one. This is a Canucks team that need to add. We know right now Elias Pettersson down the middle with Filip Hronek. You can bring Cootes in as a center, but he may not join this team for the next 3+ years. So with the Canucks only having Pettersson, Hronek, Suter is set to hit the free agency. We have Teddy Bluger, Niels Amon, and even Aatu Räty. This is not a strong enough center core for this Canucks team if they want to get back in the race, if they want to contend for the Stanley Cup once again. Going into the past season, we've seen them listed as the top team to win the West out. But this did not happen. They failed to make it. They moved on from JT Miller, and they need to fill that void desperately. Now, looking at the Canucks, there is pros and cons to them doing a draft pick. The pros of this would be you add to their not great cupboard of prospects already. There's a lot of great talent here, like Hronek, Will Ender, DPD, Aatu Räty. You can work your way down. But right now with McKeon's hockey, they have them ranked at number 18 when it comes to prospects across the NHL. You can pause and read through. There's a lot of guys here. But adding more prospects to this cupboard would jump them up. You continue to compete. Then you also have guys joining on ELCs that are going to make a difference. But if the Canucks do move on, if it gets expensive, and they move on from pick number 15 and also one or two of these prospects to add a center, the Canucks are going to slowly stop dropping down the rankings when it comes to prospect pool. And listen, I think Tom Willander and Jonathan Lekermacki are going to be crucial pieces, not only going into next year, the year after, but for the foreseeable future. But the big thing is, these guys are eventually going to start to get older. You still need to add talent to, and especially when you're taking into consideration on the Canucks top prospects right here, going down the list, only 3 of these guys do play the center position: Aatu Räty, Linus Karlsson, and Max Sasson. So adding more top-end talent at the center position is a great idea. Something the Canucks can build a prospect through their system, finally going through Abby into the Vancouver Canucks as a center. Maybe Cootes comes in and takes over the second-line center role in 2 to 3 years. But the biggest thing right now with the Canucks is weighing the options between going out to get a center, moving on from prospects, picks, even key guys to bring in that center. But then you also need to look at it in the sense of, if the Canucks don't continue to build this prospect pool, if you don't get a center, they're going to continuously regress from their standing position and then also regress when it comes to the prospect pool. It's a lot to take in. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Cam Robin just going out to report the Canucks did not have their brass showing up to this? What is your thoughts on the lack of involvement, which does lead to them looking like they're going to move on from the 15th? What is your thoughts on taking Cootes at number 15? Because I think it would be a home run prospect. There's a lot of great kids. I mean, you have the top end talent in Schaefer and Misa, but other than that, there is a lot of guys the Vancouver Canucks could target at number 15, and they could trade up. It's not going to happen, but if they did, there's still a lot of guys. There's so much to cover on this. Go down and leave a comment down on everything I spoke on today. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. I'll be back with another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark Pye. I'm still battling the flu, so hopefully you made it this far and enjoyed it, but take care.